Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feels Out Loud, brought to you by Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. This is your host, Becky McNattin, along with Tara Martini. We're glad to have you listening this morning as we live and share stories of mental health. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning, my love. So, our last episode was about poetry.
Yes, it was.
Which was amazing, one of my faves. And we've known this since we started the show that you are a lover of words.
I love words. I love words.
You do?
Yep.
I may, in big capital letters, italicize, may just be introducing a word to you today. I don't know. That might become the focus of your affection. It's a unique one. Have you heard of Hygge?
I actually have.
Oh, no!
I have a game called the Hygge game at my house.
No!
But in part, it is some of my cultural lineage. So
okay, fine.
I did grow
audience, up in I tried. Okay.
I did grow up in a realm that talked about this.
Okay. Okay.
So that is in part why.
One day, audience, one day, I will find a word that she's not familiar with. So, for those of you who don't know what that word is, so in both Danish and Norwegian, so a lot of Scandinavian countries, Hygge refers to a form of everyday togetherness.
Yeah.
A pleasant, highly valued everyday experience of safety, equality, coziness, personal wholeness, and spontaneous social flow. The Collins English Dictionary defines the word as a concept of creating cozy and convivial atmospheres that promote well-being.
Love that.
I became well-versed on this concept and others that we'll get to later. My ex-husband is Finnish, and that was kind of my first exploration into sisu and other terms related to Hygge and other things. And I just fell in love with all things having to do with this realm and really just chose to kind of try and live my life more like this. And as we'll learn as this episode goes, it's pretty much the opposite of how our country functions. Which is probably why I feel like I've never fit well in our society, because our country runs differently than this philosophy. But so today we're going to explore really what Hygge is. Hygge includes something nice, cozy, safe, and known, and it's really a psychological state.
Yes.
And it connects to, which is why I want to talk about it on this show, and it has such a positive impact on our mental health and our well-being. And it is truly a state of mind, which to me, it is a beautiful state of mind. It's a beautiful way to live your life. But it is really so different than we are used to here. What are your thoughts on that?
So different. Well, it's one of my thoughts is that sometimes other languages encapsulate entire experiences in a word.
Yes.
And do a beautiful job of doing that. This is one of those that in one word is talking about a framework. That is the psychological state of feeling calm. And often it's just said it's the cozy word, where we kind of slow down our pace, where we think about things a little bit more from a content spot, where we seek the things that provide us nurture as well. So like cozy foods, cozy clothes, warmth, so many things to think about today.
So many.
Really cool topic. We're talking about Hygge today.
Yeah.
And right now we're going to take a short commercial break, but stay tuned as we explore this word more, the psychological state more, and how we can integrate it into our lives. Thank you for listening to Feels Out Loud. We will be back in just a moment.
Well, then you'll find yourself. You gotta find the people.
Welcome back, everyone, to Feels Out Loud, brought to you by Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. I am Becky McNattin, along with Tara Martini, and I want to dive right back into our discussion on Hygge, which is the art of togetherness.
It is.
And I even as I say that, I feel like, one, I tried to buy a shirt off of Etsy that actually said this word, because I thought, what more embodies what I believe, the art of togetherness? That is the word. I was I want to wear this.
Yes.
I want to wear it.
So it is so amazing.
I love that you said, it's part of why I'm sure you and I are friends, that you were like, I want to live my life this way.
I do. Yep, it is. So today we're going to explore just the impact this has and look at ways we can integrate Hygge ways into our lives, because we can still live where we're living and integrate it and live this lifestyle and, you know, have this state of mind. And right now, as the temps are cooling down, it's a perfect time to introduce this state of coziness and togetherness into our homes, which is typically fall and winter are a great time. And especially in the Scandinavian countries, they really embrace this. And Minnesota has a similar climate. But also it's that idea of it can also be integrated into the summer months as well. So Hygge is a way of life that embodies, like we said, coziness, simplicity, and being present, which is something all of us need to work on.
Yeah.
Researchers define Hygge as a restorative practice.
Wow.
Which I love that, particularly for us in therapeutic realm.
Yeah.
And emphasizes the strong commitment to that, which I feel like if we all had a commitment to it, it quantifies it into 10 ideals, and these ideals are key qualities for living a happy life. And my goodness, if we could all take these 10 ideals, right, and take steps to have a happier life, my goodness.
Well, and I even think about it as we get started, that being present, well, we struggle with that a lot.
We do, particularly nowadays with media and cell phones. And
we're often living in moments that either already occurred and we're analyzing them or and criticizing ourselves for things, or we're living in moments that haven't yet occurred.
Yep.
But we do that a lot in the fall and winter. We wish away the time of the cold or colder months. And so the sort of personal challenge of really embracing coziness, being present in that, and saying there's joy and opportunity and connection is super cool.
There is. So we are going to together take turns and let's look at these 10 ideals and kind of describe them. And as listeners, you can reflect and kind of think about, you know, wow, do I embrace this ideal? And if not, where could I integrate that? And we'll talk about later on in the episode of how do I do simple things to integrate this ideal into my life to take one step further into creating that happy life. So the first one is atmosphere. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's creating that warm, inviting, and comfortable place, which is so important, whether it's for guests or for your family members living in your home every day. And this can be achieved through soft lighting, candles, fireplaces, the lighting itself, which, girl, we talk about at the office all the time.
Yes.
That harsh overhead lighting.
Yep.
Cozy textures, whether it's blankets and rugs or pillows, and then the natural elements, which we are so blessed and thankful to Becky. With our office, we are right next to natural elements in the woods, which I think plays a key to our state of mind in our office.
I do too.
And the peace that is just naturally present in our office with the natural elements being so close.
Absolutely. And I love that this is the first
yes.
thing, because in terms of ideas, because we tend to like relegate that as decoration or not think about how meaningful atmosphere is. And this is saying, no, it's actually fundamental.
It is fundamental.
What you are a part of, the system that you are a part of, what you're surrounded by, what you're sitting on, that impacts your mood and how you show up.
It does.
In those moments.
It is so important. And it is, I'll use a personal example. Like I said, this has been something in the last 10 years that is kind of just a personal mission of mine. And what is so fascinating, I don't know if I've even shared this with you, so my office, I really have taken this philosophy and integrated it into my office. And it's not something I've shared with anyone in the office about how intentional I was on creating this hygge space. Not exaggerating. Every single person that has come into my office, as far as a potential client or existing client, has sat down and within the first 3 sessions has used the word cozy. And what is so fascinating is that I smile or giggle every single time. And I think being so intentional about creating that space and having attained that, is just remarkable to me because it is achievable. So it's not like, oh, yeah, do these things and like you'll create this space.
Right.
It works.
Right. And you're one of the cheapest people I know. And so also Atmosphere doesn't require Ethan Allen.
No. Girl, all my stuff is Goodwill.
Yeah. So when people say cozy, this isn't from a space of this cost you a lot.
No.
But that intention really shines through.
That's a very good point, is that this is not restyling your home or redoing your home or your office or your space. It's creating cozy and safe and warm.
Yeah. So the second major component to hygge is presence. Being fully present in the moment and disconnecting from distractions is crucial.
It is.
This involves being really mindful to have engagement with activities and surroundings and being present with loved ones, other people in the room. As I'm even talking about this, I'm chuckling because I'm thinking about how I don't do this. How it's because when I lack intention or step out of a space of intention, how easy it is for me to grab my phone in a room with other people and we're all doing it suddenly. So being fully present in the moment really requires that conscientious focus on I'm right here with these people. Right. I love that.
Yep. So important. Number 3 is pleasure. So it's finding enjoyment in simple things. And this is, when we discuss other countries, this is consistent with all of them. It is simple pleasures. It's indulging in a favorite treat, a warm drink, engaging in a relaxing hobby. This is a core aspect of hygge. It is just looking around and finding simplicity.
And I was just talking with someone yesterday about this, framing it from the perspective that it is like pleasure, that to note with intention why you're doing the thing. And so almost to honor, like, oh, how cool it is that I'm sitting here with a book in my lap.
Yes.
Because that is a simple pleasure, but noting that you're actually doing it and then reinforcing that you're making a priority over simple pleasures.
And you're doing it for the sake of you wanting to do it and it bringing you joy versus an obligation. And we talked about this in a previous episode about my time in France, where that is their core, is doing things for pleasure. And that is what drives them. And it changes everything, which, again, we lack and we need more of. And yet again, here's another country who's doing it right. So yes, pleasure.
Well, so the fourth idea within hygge is equality. There is a huge emphasis on a sense of togetherness and shared experience. Amazing. It's about creating a space where everyone feels valued and involved, and where tasks and enjoyment are shared. So tasks and enjoyment.
Yep.
And that maybe even the tasks themselves can be enjoyable because they're shared.
Correct.
I mean, that could be one way to look at it.
Yes. So you're cooking together, you're discussing things together, so that everybody feels like they are present and sharing the experience, which is so important.
Yeah.
So important. Number 5 is gratitude, which we all need, right? Appreciating the good things in life, both big and small, is an important part of Hygge. This can involve expressing gratitude for experiences, relationships, and simple pleasures. So important, no matter what we're going through.
Yeah, and there's big research around how gratitude impacts wellness, psychological and emotional wellness. That we don't have to be grateful for always these massive things, the simple pleasures, the simple moments. And I think one key piece that I always challenge myself to is not saying the same things over and over again. Finding something new that there is gratitude around.
Yep. And that is very true. Rather than being like, I'm grateful for my family. Grateful that we had this little discussion about the duck last episode. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it doesn't have to be.
Right.
Yeah.
What about your family are you
Right.
grateful for today or in
Right.
the last 5 minutes?
Yep.
You can put a time frame on it to really make yourself be able to be more specific.
Yep.
One thing that you could be grateful for is the 6th concept in Hygge is comfort. We can be grateful for comfort too, but comfort is feeling physically comfortable and at ease, which is essential. This includes wearing comfortable clothes, using soft furnishings, creating a space where one can relax and unwind. And if you think about those places that are comfortable for you, just put yourself there, listeners, and you might even be sitting there right now. Oh, how that changes you. Comfort does change us in what's the thing we love to wear when we're lounging. And then how does that shift our attitude?
And how does it shift as far as our ability to be vulnerable? In my office, I always make sure I have blankets, that the couch is comfortable, that they can feel, comfortable. And then if they're comfortable, maybe they're more willing to be expressive. If you go to a friend's house because you have a planned Hygge evening, which we'll talk about later, and everyone's in comfy clothes, you're just more willing to just have that relaxing, sense of togetherness. It's so, to me, number 6 is one of the most important concepts regarding this ideal. Number 7 is harmony. Oh, if we just had this everywhere.
Yeah.
Finding peace and balance in one's environment and relationships is a key element. This involves avoiding drama and negativity and creating a sense of calm and tranquility.
Wow. Well, yes.
We could do a whole episode on that.
Yes. And really a focus on seeking that, doing things that actively pursue harmony, and perhaps discarding things that don't support
I was just going to say, almost more important.
Kind of filtering those out.
Yeah. Avoiding the things.
Yep.
Which so easy to do, actually, because so much of it is on technology. So it's stepping away from that and going to the simpler ways of life.
Well, that leads to the next concept, which is truce. Hygge encourages a break from conflict and stress. The very things we often seek, which is odd.
Yep.
We keep reinforcing the things that bring us stress by doing things that bring us stress. So this is about creating space where one can escape from daily worries and enjoy a sense of peace and relaxation.
Love it. Which leads us to number 9, togetherness. Spending quality time with loved ones, sharing meals, and engaging in meaningful conversation is a central part of Hygge. And it is, just like we discussed earlier, it is spending time off the phones, being present with one another, and sharing those meals, prepping it together, and just being together.
Yeah, I love that so much. It feels like this is almost a manifesto of sorts, because it really is like this philosophy of life that I am so into. Last concept of Hygge.
Yeah.
Shelter. Feeling safe. And this gets at these other ideals that we've talked about. Comfort, finding spaces that promote relaxation and calm. But shelter, feeling safe, secure, and protected is an important aspect of this. And it can be achieved through creating that cozy space that you talk about, people even mention to you, and inviting space, welcoming, that feels like sanctuary.
And that is that piece, remember of, and I said this, I don't remember if it was the last episode or this episode, about my home being my sanctuary and my calming space. It can also be you creating that space for others.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And that's what I want to talk about now, is just the idea of how I've integrated, or my experience with Hygge, creating it as a lifestyle, but then also you can, because you could sit there as an audience, a listener right now going, well, I don't have this as a lifestyle. Well, then what am I supposed to do? You can also look at it creating Hygge moments and planning them out. And so I want to talk about that briefly. And that's that piece of creating a sanctuary for have a family over and do this and do a Hygge evening.
Yeah.
And then gradually working your way of integrating it into your home more often. One of my first experiences is I just fell in love with this concept, and I was talking with one of my girlfriends who felt the same way about it. And she lives on a lake, and we had said, we've talked about doing this so much, but let's plan an evening, a Hygge evening, where both of our families gather at her house. We wear our pajamas. So we did this. So we brought over things that didn't involve technology. We planned a meal. We all wore our pajamas and brought blankets.
I love that.
Yes. We went sledding. We did a sauna and swim. And then we gathered, put our pajamas back on, and just hung out, chatted. The lights were dimmed. We ate comfort food. And it was the most peaceful evening.
That's amazing.
And there was still laughter and things like that. We didn't just sit in silence. But it was community, it was togetherness, it was all those things. And it was the simplest of things, right? We didn't spend extra money, but it was just we went down to the most basic of things. So you can do that. And it's just using the resources that you have at home. And you don't need to have a lake, right? It could be you go sledding, different things like that. You don't even have to leave the house if you don't want to. With this same friend and her husband, we did the opposite, because you can also do this during the summer, right? This doesn't have to be, even though stereotypically you'll read about it, that the focus was fall or winter. You can do this in the summer. And I had the same couple over to my house, and it had a 3-season porch. And again, it's utilizing spaces in your home that maybe you don't use a lot, but can create that cozy space. So it's put a tablecloth on your table. Like, how many times do you think about that, And then using different silverware that maybe you don't. Using candles instead of the overhead lighting. Taking time for the meal. Maybe having a glass of wine or whatever you're having and just sitting with that rather than eating and drinking at the same time. And then having a course and sitting and just prolonging each thing and going through it slowly and having conversation be a part of it. The piece is taking the time and having it be simple. And as my friend had pointed out, she's like, I feel like I'm in Europe right now. And I said, isn't it so fascinating that, again, I spent no extra money.
Yeah.
But that the environment I created felt so different from a dinner that we're used to having.
Yeah.
That it felt like we weren't even in this country.
Wow.
Which also leads to what we're going to talk about right now is why? Why does it feel so different? And what about our country is so different than other countries? When we look at other countries really quickly before we get to our country. So other countries have these concepts. So when you look at So Denmark is the one that has Hygge. We've talked about the World Happiness Report.
Yeah.
And which we've referenced before. The United States is about 18th in national happiness, which we'll get to. Mm-hmm. Well, we are a country that always seeks more. Well, meanwhile, we've got Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, and the Netherlands take the top spots.
Yeah.
What do they have in common? Well, is it happiness? Are they simply content? Each of these countries has a principle that guides them. And although the principle might slightly be different, they're all grounded in one thing, simplicity.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's very similar to Hygge. So, Sweden, and I have a whole book on it for those of you that are on Facebook Live right now. Sweden has lagom. It's described as not too much, not too little. Norway has kusli, which is describing as a feeling of coziness, warmth and comfort, quality time spent with community and family, consuming simple and comforting. Becky, what does Iceland have?
Well, I'm struck by all of these, and actually, as a kid who has a high Swedish background, I am highly familiar with this: not too much, not too little. Iceland can be understood as it will all work out okay. Okay. It will all work out okay.
I love that. So you remember, like, growing up, the whole concept of not too much, not too little.
Absolutely. Really grounded in these Hygge ideals.
Really?
Making root beer and having family gatherings at my grandparents' house. And this would be all of my grandpa's family, who was Swedish. His parents were immigrants.
Wow.
And so in this simple togetherness, people all bring their favorite foods. This was actually often in the summer, but making almost ritual and tradition of even preparing the food, potato salad, some kind of known Swedish dishes, and this concept of even like how we would make the food. My grandparents would tell me not too much, but not too little of like spices or what would go in, and then embracing those things.
I love that. And here, I thought maybe you'd never heard of the word.
Well,
little did I know.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And then lastly, so we have Finland has sisu. And then I have the book for that, which I just love. And this one's near and dear to my heart since I was married to a Finn once. And sisu is a little bit different. Their word of their nation, it's their national character. It's really, as my ex-husband says, it's impossible to define in English words. Sisu is considered more raw, being an semblance of feelings or concepts such as bravery, grit, perseverance in the face of adversity or tenacity. However, this grittiness is matched by concepts similar to Hygge, such as comfort, especially in their sauna culture, and oneness with nature or light and warmth. All of these have something, right? And they also are connected to being the happiest countries in the world.
Yeah.
We are not one of those.
Yeah.
So Becky, what would our country's word be?
Well,
which is like a real big question.
It's a huge question.
Yeah. I mean, we need a whole episode.
Well, so the first thing that comes to mind is just a brief story about it. I make an intention word every single year for myself, and actually at our business where we work together, everybody does this, and we have an entire intention party in January that we share our intention words for the year, and throughout the year we have them posted in a room in our office, everyone. And throughout the year, we kind of help challenge each other on how are we living out this word. My word this year is soulful. And so when you said, what would our country's word be? Something around like it could be nurture. I feel like I need to come up with a phrase, but the first word that came to my mind was soulful, which happens to be my intention word for this year.
And why would you say that our word would be soulful?
Well, it's so much of what Hygge feels like is this connection to oneself as a vehicle of connection to others.
Okay.
And that relationship with oneself becomes a relationship with others. That
Okay.
really, how can we do that if we aren't understanding of what's going on here, and then reflecting of ourselves with true authenticity? Because it feels like that's what we need in order to be able to do these,
Right.
embrace the simplicity, love the simplicity.
Fascinating. This is just like, so our last episode on poetry, it's so fascinating how we interpret questions differently as well. Because when I read that question, what would our country's word be? I read it as, if our country had a word that represented what I felt was important to our country right now,
Oh, I was like, if I had, okay.
my word would be more.
Yes.
Because we're just always looking for more, taking more, wanting more. I just feel like with our country, there's just never enough of something. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, you and I just
You're
love
just
these
so
combos.
optimistic and
Well, I was
lovely.
thinking if we had a word that also represented hygge for us, what would our word be? How would we use that?
See, look at how beautiful your thoughts are. I'm like
so
negative Nelly over here.
If we were to have this, but it would be an English word or some sort of word that we utilize on a daily basis, what would it be? If I were to embody our country's current ideals in a word, of course, things like dominance come up or seeking. It feels like I'm always seeking, which is, I resonate with your word more of whatever I have isn't what I'm wanting. And so wherever I am isn't where I want to be or isn't where I need to be. And so we then very fundamentally struggle with present centeredness because that isn't ever where we're always somewhere else.
Yes. And I think whether you take that word or my word, how can we ever have a state of comfort, cozy, togetherness, safety, all those things, if we're constantly just trying to have more? Because we can never be settled enough or content enough with what we have. Because the ideal of all of this is they're content with simple. They look around and what they want is just people together celebrating themselves and the simple things in life, which is the opposite of our country. Because that's not enough. We need more. But then how can we ever just be content and happy? I don't think we'll ever be topping that list, my love.
Well, if enough of us pursue whatever the word is that they embrace around this idea of hygge, change does happen there.
It does.
And we can in very daily life ways. In fact, I would love to hear you say, like, how can we practice hygge ourselves?
Yes.
But in very easily integratable daily life ways, we can do this where we say, you know what, I don't actually want to have a word more. Maybe that is what the systemic word is, or where it's not enough. But I don't resonate with that. I want something else. So what would people do?
So here is, and you made me think of something that I didn't have on the list, is to kind of fight our desire to have more. I'd love if people jumped on my train of we don't need to be purchasing new items all the time.
Yeah.
I only buy secondhand and thrift for the most part. And I feel like that's a huge, fighting against that idea of wanting more and new. I think there's something beautiful about finding something and owning something that already has a story. But as far as, and I think that's very hygge,
Absolutely is.
So how can we practice it ourselves? So here are realistic things. One, as far as the you can create a cozy corner, whether it's of your office, in your house. These are just basic little things you can do. Create a cozy corner. Gather some blankets you already own. Think of soft textures, pillows, and cushions, and create that sense of cozy and together in one part of your house. If you want to go bigger, then make sure you have a basket of blankets and soft textures in each room of your home or in your office that invites that sense of togetherness, because then you're increasing the chances of snuggling.
Yeah.
And that chance of togetherness. Go around your house or look in your office, particularly, especially if you're a therapist, and look at your lighting situation. Overhead lighting, the worst. Choose low lighting, lamp with lights with dimmers, candlelight, anything like that. If you work in an office, they have fake candles, which I have, that look real. But big thing is lamps. Creates a wonderful ambiance. Next one is look for comfort food. My goodness, I know we're all about diet and eating healthy, but you can eat healthy too and have that comfort food. Get away from screen time. Rest your mind. A lovely hygge evening would be, we all know there are coloring books nowadays for adults, for teenagers, for little kids, quiet games, puzzles, books, anything like that that's going to create a sense of togetherness. A lot of us have those things in our homes without having to go to the store.
Yes, we do.
Bonding time. Just create that space and say to your family or to a few friends, just give me an hour, just give me 2 hours. Say to a few friends, text them and say, hey, my house, in your comfiest clothes, bring a blanket, Friday night at 7 o'clock or whatever it is, and try it out. And it can be contagious. And then they go home, and do that with their family. Get outside.
Incredible.
Lay in a hammock, take a hike, lay a blanket down, swing on a swing. Just do something, connect. Hug a tree. You love doing that.
I do love doing that.
Sit next to a tree with bare feet. And then number 8, do something self-care. Favorite lotion, take a bath, give yourself a manicure, put on a face mask.
Yeah.
Something simple. And you can even make, and this is that whole like equality thing where you're doing something, make the comfort food together, make a face mask together, make a scrub together, take a bath with someone. These are all things that you can do together that's going to increase that sense of togetherness. If you have a sauna and swim together. All of these things should just increase that sense. Now, if you are someone, because I know I said get off screen time, but in the realm of technology, there are things like the Calm app, honestly, has hygge activities and stories, which is so crazy.
So cool.
Sisu, the book, The Finnish Art of Courage, the little book of hygge, Pinterest boards. If you go on Pinterest, there's literally hundreds of boards that can show you how to transform your house. If you get overwhelmed, there are simple things you can do, and it lays it out for you. If you're overwhelmed, like, how do I do this? And then lastly, there is Dr. Elizabeth Lakhti, who is a behavioral scientist, international speaker, and educator specializing in the applied psychology of inner strength, resilience, and unlocking human potential, has sisulab.com. And it's all about somatic wisdom and strengthening your gentle power in your life.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool. So much to think about here.
So much.
We're headed to a commercial break now, but when we come back, we're going to talk through listener questions, all of your questions about the art of connectedness.
Love it.
Feels Out Loud will process your questions and thoughts in just a moment.
Cool.
You gotta find the people.
We are back again with Feels Out Loud, and this part of the show is where we talk through questions from you all, our listeners. If you have a question related to mental wellness, sharing feelings, or topics for each week that you would like us to process through, please visit our website at becomingtogethermn.com and find the Feels Out Loud page to submit a question directly, or you definitely can email us at contact@becomingtogethermn.com. You can for sure follow us on social media because we want to hear from you all and what you're wondering about. So thanks for everybody who sent in some questions about Hygge and the art of togetherness.
Yes.
We heard a lot.
We did hear a lot. And one of them so perfectly was a wonderful marriage between the last episode and today. So I was like, well, I'm definitely going to do that one.
Okay.
So someone asked, what's another way that is unique that I can incorporate the Hygge lifestyle with my children or my students? This person's obviously a teacher, so I also snagged it. And so then I was like, ooh, we just did one on poetry. So a great way to do it, and you can literally, you could Google this or you can use the one that I found directly, is there's Hygge journaling, which is right up our poetry therapists.
Yes. Like journaling for peace, centeredness, simplicity, content. Love that.
Yes, all the things. And so an easy thing to do, particularly if you are a teacher or this person is a parent, so it makes it easy. Anytime you can hand someone like 30 days of, is always great. And so if you go to writingmindset.org and you type in 30 Hygge journaling prompts for a mental boost. Wow. It will take you to, and it is, I love myself an organized calendar. It gives you a calendar of 30 days, and it will give you a writing prompt, and it will really just kind of give you like a little hint as to what it is. And there's one prompt that has to do with color and associating a color with a mood. Another one that talks about like, what's an equation for happiness? Another one is, what is the most beautiful sound you've ever heard? Another one is, you receive an unexpected gift that brings you so much happiness. What did you find in your envelope? So it's all these wonderful things that are giving you a sense of connectedness, peacefulness, calmness, that are adding to that Hygge lifestyle.
Yeah, well, and actual prompts that are challenging you to think about present-centeredness.
Yes.
These in the very simplest of ways. So really a reframe on what are your current experiences and how can you pay attention to those? I think so much of what we've talked about today is this word intention that flows through many of the other words, as we talked about a couple of the other languages. It flows through the other words too, with an intention how you are living out these experiences.
Exactly.
And what a cool way for people to have journaling prompts that are a call back to intention in this moment.
Exactly. And if we really think about it, and I don't even know if we've said this, but at the core of Hygge is mindfulness. And how often do we talk about mindfulness in our office and our day-to-day on improving mental wellness? And this is a way we can incorporate, whether it's Hygge or mindfulness, into our day-to-day lifestyles. And just also think about the impact it then has on whoever lives in our home or whoever is in our life.
Yeah.
And the peace that it can bring them. And like you said, because you're so optimistic, is that idea of, our country's word may be more, but we can create a little corner of our world where our world becomes less and simplicity and calm.
I love that so much. We are at the end of our show already for today. Thank you for listening this morning, everyone, and join us next week as we talk through trauma and how traumatic experiences impact mental health. And in the week ahead, be kind to yourself. Remember that connection fosters wellness, and your voice is one that the world around you needs to hear, everybody. Share yourselves, friends.
Some do, some don't, some will, some